My quality of life in Ghana has increased quite significantly since I moved from Australia to Ghana. The fact that I have better access to family, the cost of living is significantly cheaper for me. I have better access to high quality food. It's very easy for me to explore different cultures within Ghana. And most importantly, family extends past blood. My name is Jasmine Ama, and I relocated from Australia to Ghana in 2020. So that makes it 4 years since I've been living in Ghana. Overall, my life has been so much better since I moved to Ghana. I am less stressed. I am more positive. My thoughts on work and leisure is completely different now. I'm no longer in a rush to do so many things. I go by the Ghanaian pace, which is just slow and steady. And I think that's the best way to be in comparison to my experiences when I lived in Australia, where everything was chop, 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 chop. You just go, 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 go. It never ends. My life is just at a more calm pace now that I really enjoy. There are also some luxuries that I can afford to have here in Ghana that there was no way I could afford when I lived in Australia. Now I have a security man, I have a cleaner, I have people that run errands for me. So it generally makes my life so much easier and just simpler. My first few months of living in Ghana was not necessarily easy. It took a while for me to fit in. It took a while for me to adjust. It took a while for me to get used to the way of life out this way. Some of the things I had to get used to was the roads. So I lived in an area where it wasn't as developed as where I live now, and I didn't realize how much of an impact that was going to have on my lifestyle. That was really draining. It made everything just more complicated than it was supposed to be, but it was a learning curve for me. It took a while for me to make some really good, decent friends as well. So the first few months, aside family, I felt like I was alone really. So it took a while for me to find people that I felt like I could share my space with. That made a big difference in my life. I found that coming here, it was very easy to find acquaintances and people to do different things for you, but finding people that will be close to you, that you can share more intimate things with, was a little bit of a challenge. So that took a while, especially coming here on my own. I didn't move here with anybody. The people that I had here were people that already lived here, more extended family than anything else. So I had to form a new circle on my own. So that there was a bit of a challenge in that aspect. Also, the traffic to that part of town was crazy. And that, I think I also underestimated how much of an impact that was going to have on my life, especially given that I'm a very busy person and most of the time I'm working. So if you have to be in traffic on a daily basis, that can truly exhaust you and make your experience not as great as it can be. The other thing was I owned that home as well. So there was a couple of things that I had to put in place, like water, like using artisans to fix certain things. All those things were a big challenge, and it took a while for me to finally come to a point where I'm like, I can breathe again, So in saying that my quality of life has increased quite significantly since moving here, it did not all happen straight away. It took a little bit of a while for me to fully adjust, fully immerse, fully adapt to how things operate around here in order for me to function properly. So now that I've got all my ducks in a row, I'm really enjoying my life, to be honest. There's nothing to complain about. Absolutely love my life in Ghana. The other thing that I found, aside from making some really decent friends that have made a significant impact on how well I've settled in Ghana, is finding a really good hobby that is accessible for me. For me, tennis has been my thing. If you asked me a couple of years ago that, are you interested in tennis? I'll probably be like, what are you talking about, But hey, I was like, let me go check it out and see how it goes. Because I like the outfits too, the outfits they wear to play tennis. I was like, let me go and try out and see how I go. And I fell in love with it. And every time that I go, I get better and better. So it's like, it gives you this sense of achievement. So that's also made a significant impact in building my life in Ghana. So having a hobby has played a significant role aside from having good friends. Establishing a proper routine also makes a big difference. A proper routine around work, a proper routine around a social life, taking breaks often. Ghana is so easy to access different towns, and different towns will give you completely different experiences. You could drive outside Accra or Tema just for like 30 minutes and you go to a completely different town and you can learn something completely new. So if you incorporate those type of things into your routine, it makes a significant difference. It takes you away from the things that you have to do. You do things that you don't necessarily have to do, but you do it because it's enjoyable or it's educational, and that will all absolutely transform your experience in Ghana. For me personally, it has, and it's made my experience so much more worthwhile. While I'm at it, I've decided to just share with you guys some of the things that I tend to spend money on while living in Ghana. As I said, the cost of living out here has been significantly cheaper for me than it was over in Australia. So for rent, I pay 3,000 Ghana cedis per month. For petrol, it's about 700 cedis per week. Internet, it's about 100 cedis per month. Food, I'd say it's roughly 100 cedis per month because I cook at home. If you eat out, it's expensive. So if you cook at home, it's so much cheaper. This is what my experience has been, eating at home so much cheaper. And you have access to all this beautiful fresh food and fresh fruits and vegetables and all these good things. So you might as well take advantage. For phone, I'll say about 200 cedis per month. For electricity, I would say about 500 cedis per month. And then for water, it's about 200 Ghana cedis per month. I'll put the total on the screen for you guys. You can compare that total cost to whatever it is you're paying in whatever country you're in. For me, I'm saving so much money. And at the end of the day, I am so much happier out here. My reasons for relocating to Ghana from Australia came from the fact that I had no sense of belonging over in Australia. I lived there for so many years and I just felt so out of place. Like, despite having friends, despite having a career, despite doing everything that any normal person would do, I just felt like there was more. I don't know, there was something that was lacking. There was something that I was craving. And the only place that I found that was when I came to Ghana. I've done a fair bit of traveling. I've explored the world. I've been to Europe, different parts of Europe. I've been to different parts of Asia. All that never brought me the sense of belonging that I get when I'm in Ghana. And I was like, if I don't come to Ghana to experience this good life now, when will I come? You know, when will I come? Because now I don't have anything tying me down, like kids and marriage and all that. I was just alone. I could just come and explore. If I hated it, I could just go back. So I was just like, let me come. And luckily for me, it's just worked out for the best. Another reason why I wanted to relocate to Ghana was I felt like I could invest and make better returns on my investments in comparison to what I could get over in Australia. Ghana is a developing country. There's so much opportunity to make money. Although it's not a straightforward process investing and making money, once you figure it out, you can really make some decent money. So it makes sense to come now rather than later when everybody has bought into it and it's already so expensive. I can already see it because when I bought my house almost 10 years ago, the houses were not that expensive, but now it's like more than 100% increase, you know? So if you don't invest now, when are you going to do it? And that's why I was like, let me just come and do what I can now. If I don't want to be here anymore, I can just go. But I have to take advantage of this opportunity right now that Ghana is offering. And it has significantly paid off. I absolutely love my life here so far. The other thing about being in Ghana that Ghanaians tend to take for granted is the fact that every time you're out, if people walk past you, they will always say good morning, good evening, good afternoon. For them, it's a sign of respect. But if you're somebody who's like on your own, lives alone and stuff like that, someone just seeing you and saying good morning, good afternoon, it could make your day really. And for me, I just think it's beautiful. It just makes everybody seem so warm, you know. You won't have an issue getting help from anybody if you saw them and they said good evening or good afternoon or whatever. And for me, I just think it's beautiful. It's nice to see those type of things. I don't think they make anything out of it because it's just their way of life. But if you live somewhere else where people just walk past each other all the time, and you see people actually greeting strangers all the time, it's just a beautiful thing to see. A lot of the time as well, especially in the lower socioeconomic areas, you see kids playing together all the time. A lot of the time they're not even families, they don't even know each other, they probably just live next door to each other, they're always playing together, the parents are always chatting with each other, mingling. And just like, you don't have to be anything to them, you don't have to be an auntie or an uncle or anything. It's just because I know Kofi lives down the road, and the mother knows that my house is this way, so now Kofi can go play with these kids and there's no problems. It's just beautiful. We're losing that a little bit out here in Ghana, especially within like the more affluent areas with the residential homes and things like that. Out those ways, people don't really play outside like that. But if you go to the lower socioeconomic areas, it's very, very common. When it comes to the challenges of being here in Ghana, I think one of the things that sticks out to me is the pace of life. So while the pace of life is my favorite thing about Ghana, it's also the thing that I don't like the most because it translates into everything else. So pace of life, you know, when you have a day off, you can relax, take it easy, you don't have to rush anything. Everything is just nice and slow. But when it comes to certain things that are important, especially work and things like that, people still have this slow pace of life attitude towards it. Nothing is that important. Time is not really that much of a thing, you know. So it can really affect transactions, it can affect businesses, it can affect a whole variety of things because everything is like, oh, it's all right, it'll be okay, it'll be done, you know. But that attitude is helpful in some aspects of life, in some aspects is not necessarily helpful. So there needs to be that balance, which I don't think Ghana has quite right. So I find that quite challenging. The other thing that I'll say that I find challenging is like, you have to know somebody in every single organization or every single entity or business or whatever if you want to get a decent service. For the most part, not all the time, but for the most part, it has to be that way. So that's also part of it. If you've just moved here, that can be a bit of a challenge because it takes a while for you to establish those connections that will allow those transactions to be smooth. But it should be easily accessed by everybody so long as they're paying for a service. They don't need to know anybody there for them to be able to get the service that they're paying for. But here, you have to know somebody, unfortunately. That's just how it is. And sometimes you have to tip and things like that if you want to get your stuff done quickly. So it's not so great. Now I'm okay because now I've established some connections in different places. But when you first come, it can be a big, big challenge and it's not necessarily fun to deal with. So those are the two challenges that I haven't necessarily enjoyed about Ghana so much. Overall, I love that I get to explore Ghana and enjoy it in all its glory at this stage of my life. I don't know what the future holds, but for now, I am just going to continue to follow my bliss. I feel like I'm truly living. I feel like I'm enjoying every single day. I'm not on autopilot where I just go to work, come home, go to work, come home. No, I am actually being intentional because I have the space to do that living here in Ghana. I hope my videos continue to inspire you guys to follow your dreams, even if for you it doesn't mean coming to Ghana. Don't forget to follow your bliss, so na life is short. Follow your bliss, na nipa ye den. Follow your bliss, na di ebesi biya ye, and follow your bliss, na den mada. Take care, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.